The objective of this webinar was to tell you how simple one can create dashboards on Power BI using various databases, various different Excel files, SAP files, Excel files, etc., CSV files, etc., that one keeps on creating from his various systems at various point in time. This will kind of ease the lot of management time on creating the MIS, and the focus can be increased on analysis and what you call actionables on the MIS instead of focus on building the dashboards. This kind of also solves a lot of time and manpower that goes in building the graphs, charts, bars, making them more interactive, looking at them from different point of views and so on. So this solves a lot of issues, and it comes frugal for the small companies to kind of start using it just now. So yeah, so that's the idea, right? So I will be very happy if you can pop up your questions and issues, points for me while I am talking through the chat box which is given on right side of your screen. We'll keep on collecting those questions and kind of revert them as and when I feel they are worth reverting or they form part of the discussion next. You can also throw your queries through the WhatsApp number 9833777556 so that we can pick up those queries as well through the WhatsApp. So yeah, so with this we kind of welcome you all to this short session on Power BI as to how to use Power BI and how to make maximum out of what you have in a frugal way. We plan to have more sessions on Power BI once we find people are interested in knowing more about it. So obviously this is going to be very basic overview kind of a program, and then we can deep dive into the subject once more people are interested and there is a traction around knowing more about this. Yeah, so with this we'll jump straight into the subject proper. I have prepared very few slides, 4-5 slides out of understanding on Power BI. Most of it will be actually on Power BI, so actually seeing and feeling how the Power BI operates and how it looks like, and being more comfortable about the entire thing is the idea. So we will not do more slide kind of a thing. So only 3-4 slides for quick wrap up and keeping track of our subject. So I think what all will be covered is the first slide which we are talking about. The coverage of this session will be around what all is required for doing analytics in typical business scenario, very basic idea on what all is required. The second is what is the process flow. Third is available BI tools, just for your introduction, 5 minutes. And then we'll jump into Power BI to see how it works, how to download it, how to do the calculations on the fly, how the visualization and reporting can be done as quick as now. So let's look at what all is required to be for doing the analytics in typical business environment. A lot of us are doing a lot of analytics on Excel. We use our Tally to look at few reports, but most of it happens on Excel. So now it is time to kind of look at something better or improved on the Excel. When you look at Excel, there are a lot of shortcomings which we can discuss, and we can think of something better than Excel which can be refreshed automatically. So what all is possible, let us think of Excel. When we think of Excel, the Excel can kind of doesn't allow you to create relationships between two files without MS Query. And once you do something on MS Query, you also need visualizations in Excel, which gets auto updated and which are as dynamic as what we'll see in future. with the Power BI. So yeah, so this is something beyond Excel that we are trying to use, but again as simple as Excel. So that is the idea, right? So I think typical scenario when the business needs analytics is kind of monthly reports. More and more businesses wants their sales dashboards, want to see how the client-wise sales look like, how the project-wise sales look like, how the geography-wise sales look like, which salesman is performing and which is underperforming, what are the typical issues with respect to the sales, which all categories of products are hitting the budget and which are not hitting the budget, and so on, right? So I think these are very typical scenarios where Power BI can be of great help. We look at the typical process flow that is followed with respect to any analytics. So this is the typical process flow, very simple again. The idea here is to simplify it for the owners. The first is extract, transform, and load. So extract it from whatever tool you are using. Multiple tools can be multiple tools can be at the back end to extract the data. Then to transform it into whatever tool you want to analyze it, and then to load it. To load it and create relationships between that data. Then visualizing the data into various dashboards. And of course, there is one more piece which is very important, that is infra and user admin, which becomes critical because one needs to kind of have a lot of user aspects, that is confidentiality, authentication metrics, server-based infrastructure, who will see what, who cannot see what, what works for one and doesn't work for the other, and so on. So those are certain things where infra and user admin plays a role even in the cloud environment. I think these are the three critical aspects that are worth looking at while you are looking at any tool. So these are few available tools. We'll want to quickly let you know which are the tools. I think Power BI is the first tool, which I think is the most flexible one for the Excel and Microsoft users. We will dial upon Power BI in detail in this session. The other tool that is worth looking at is Tableau. Again, very nice tool, but a costly one and a bit difficult to handle by what you call a new user. Then there is one more tool which is open source tool. Nowadays there is a lot of trend on open source, so the CFO of Airbnb has kindly put this on Apache server to call as Apache Superset. This is again a free available tool which companies are free to use and maneuver as they want to use in different ways. Okay, sorry for some disturbance. Apart from that, just 1 second. Okay, so apart from that, we'll focus. So these are three tools which we wanted to just bring to your notice. There is one more tool which is good enough. It is an online, simple to use tool, but paid one. The other tool which is worth looking at and simple to use and fast to upload the data and quick to give you outputs is the Zoho reports. Again, a very simple tool. They give you free user for a while and then they are paid, but it is quite cheap and SaaS based. So this can also be used by a lot of businesses to do their sales dashboards and production dashboards and a lot of other types of dashboards as and when they look at it. Then we just jump into the process of setting up a company into any kind of a BI tool. Typically Power BI. So we'll talk about the process. The first step of setting up analytics is the requirement gathering. What the management is looking at, what is the outcome that is expected, how the outcome is required to be looking, what are the parameters, etc. Once that is clear, then doing some data cleansing and finding out which is the right data set and which is the data set which is truth for everyone. Then moving to calculations on the fly as to how certain things which are not in the data set required to be seen, like margins, like throughput, like summations of various sales data, summation of salesman wise, geography wise, and different types of calculations on the fly. Then looking at the data visualization, and finally looking at the reports and distribution, right? So this is the typical process flow of setting up a Power BI. I think very simple process flow. There is no issue as far as the process flow is concerned, although one needs to be more vigilant in what he wants or what the management actually is looking out for. Otherwise the point is it becomes just an experimentation and couldn't fetch any ROI. So the first step becomes very critical, and all others are technical steps which can be done by any novice to start with. So I think these are the few steps. For data cleansing, generally people use Python and R programming, but generally this is not required for the small setups and non-complicated kind of setups. There is something called as DEX tool, which is available on the R program, on the Power BI itself, which is very easy, column to column, row to row, table to table calculation matrix can be created on the DEX programming. We will look at it, some basic calculations in this session itself. But once there are complex calculations to be done, one needs to move to R or Python to fast track these calculations and put the input into the Power BI and then visualize it into the Power BI. So just for your information. And let's move to Power BI per se. So this is how the Microsoft Power BI website looks like. This is a typical what you call the home page. When you click on solutions, you see download Microsoft Power BI for mobile and desktop. By the way, one good news for people who are using Microsoft Office 365, Power BI desktop along with the publisher is free for one user, completely free even in the publisher mode. For the people who are not official Microsoft 365 users, they can also download Power BI and use it in different ways. We'll look at it in the next slide. So once you click on the download here on the left side corner, whatever is your thing. So the one more beauty of this is one can download Power BI on mobile app or even on your iPhone, etc. So let's look at the way forward. Once you click on the download, you will find PBI desktop setup x64.exe. This file is required to be downloaded and run on your typical what you call your Windows desktop. Once you click next on downloading this file, it will get downloaded, and one can run this file and setup. Once the setup is done, the next step is to register yourself with the Power BI, right, as a user. So once you register yourself with basic email ID and phone number, etc., you get a email which you can then confirm your email ID, and you can start using the Power BI directly. Let's look at the registration process quickly for your information as to how the registration will happen with respect to the Power BI. So Here is a quick form that is required to be filled up. Once you fill this form up, you get yourself registered on the Power BI with all the details that you are there. Once you are part of the Power BI or any Microsoft stack, say Office 365, just click on already registered and put your Microsoft ID here. If you are a 365, just you can log into your Power BI. Although you don't create any registration or user ID, you can still use the Power BI desktop without registering. So that is the beauty of this edition, where you can do try free. Just click on try free and you can start using your Power BI as a regular application. I don't think there is any time limit for this. Only issue is you cannot publish your files, which are your reports, through the Microsoft Cloud. That is the only issue that is there on this try-free version. Apart from that, I have not come across any other issue wherein your try-free version doesn't work. Okay, so let's move to how some other things which are very important, that the Microsoft Power BI also works very well on your mobile. With the same instance, you can log into your mobile phone as well. Only restriction on using the mobile based reports. See the report, it is very nicely put. The Power BI has configured all its reports to suit the mobile interface with different screen sizes, different types of mobile, Android, iOS, etc. very beautifully. You can see the way the reports are positioned. But this works only if you are registered Microsoft user or you are on a trial mode, which you can use for a very temporary time frame. Otherwise, you need to be paid user to use the mobile interface or publish your reports on the mobile interface. 60 days though you can do a free trial, right? So let's move to Power BI now and start looking at the actual screens and how you will be able to build reports in on your fingertips in on click of a button. So let's look at this interface. It is a clean new Power BI file. Just see, there are three important elements of this. First is report, the second is relationship, the data, and third is the relationship. I think we should start with the data, then go to relationship, and then last we have to build the reports. I think as a process we need to follow these three important steps. The Power BI is very self-guiding, so one can understand how to use it very fast. See, once we click on this get data tab on the top, you can see how many different databases you can take data on the Power BI. It is very simple and crisp. So JSON, XML, around 40-50 different databases, including SAP, Microsoft Azure, your Dynamics Navision, your Salesforce, Google Analytics, Facebook, your GitHub, your LinkedIn. A lot of databases are pre-configured. Apart from this, also you can use any SQL query database or MySQL database to connect to Power BI. It is very easy. A lot of these SAP and others we have tried, but the connectors are not properly made. So some expert inputs are required to actually generate reports with the SAP and other interfaces. But normally text, XML, JSON work very fine. So let us import one of the files from JSON and try it out. Sorry, CSV, and try it out and see how the import happens. Sorry. So just on a click of a button, when you click select a particular file from your database, it is populating the entire table on your Power BI immediately. See, this table is populated here. It populates here because there are certain things where there are chances of errors and issues. So this is like a wizard of import where it allows you to correct, say for example, column number, the row number 1 is the names of the columns which is not required in the database, or we want to name the column as per the top row. So we can do that. Because column number 6 has, say, first item called as name, so it is not required. So we can actually remove this, or we can rename the column 8 to the name. We can also clear off the issues like formatting in date, etc. at this stage. Let's load it. In the meanwhile, if you have any queries, questions, please feel free to reach out to us. My email ID is mitesh@apmh.in. You can also write your queries on the chat box which is appearing on the right hand side corner of the Zoom GoToMeeting call. You can also send us your WhatsApp queries through on my mobile number 9833 777 556. I hope this is interesting to you. The Power BI has already taken the data, loaded the data on it. Let us see how the first data set that we have loaded on the Power BI looks. This is the data set that is loaded on Power BI. This is do it yourself Power BI webinar. So we want you to use it from day one. The people who are attending should actually try this out and come up with their queries even after the webinar on issues that they are facing while using the Power BI, of course. See, the Power BI is very what you call instinctive, wherein it can find out the issues on your database file immediately. This is the database file, and Power BI has come up with issues, and we can just quickly clear these through Power Query. The Power Query is basically a wizard which says that how to clean up your database quickly. So, and the beauty of the Power Query is it sets up steps for cleaning up any file of similar nature when uploaded next time. So once you write those steps into this Power Query, it is very instinctive that when you put new file, it will play those steps and clean those aspects again. Hello. Kindly keep your phones on mute so that and put your queries, if any, on the chat box on the right side. So first thing that we want to do is to use the first row as the header. So it will remove this first row and make it as header on the top of it. And it is noting the steps here on the right hand side corner: source, change type, promoted header, change type again. So these are the steps. Whenever you pull out similar database of CSV from anywhere and just put it in the same folder where this file is replaced and just refresh it, it will do all these steps and pick up this into a proper format which can be analyzed immediately. So that is the beauty of Power BI, and all this is almost free for a small user, which is very good. So once we have done it, we can say close and apply. So along with all the queries, all the column numbers, etc., is appearing on the right side, where you can see all the columns which have been cleaned up. It will rename all the column numbers to first name of the row. Hello, kindly keep your mobile phones on mute or your this on mute so that then doesn't create any disturbance. See, all the columns are renamed. The Power BI is smart enough to call the columns as numbers, dates, and classify them as different types of fields. Summation, so that means numbers again, and for you to easily analyze these files, right? So the second step is, of course, setting up the relationship. But in setting up the relationship, one needs at least 2 files to set up relationships between. So we'll just pick up one more file. The disclaimer here is this data is just a dummy data. This data doesn't belong to anyone, and by no meaning this data should be used in any form by anyone for any purpose other than the demo or educational purpose. This is just made for the sake of explaining. So we will go again to the wizard and clean the next file which we have uploaded here. First thing that we will want to do in the wizard is to actually go to the query and say that make the first row as the header, so that the file looks cleaner and the header becomes clearer. Yeah, so we have done this process. These are the states. Surprisingly, in the sales file there are no states mentioned, so geographical analysis was becoming difficult. So we made a states master file wherein the state codes are linked to the actual names of the state, and the zones are also linked, so that zone-wise analysis and state-wise analysis can be done. To link this master data, we need to go to the relationships and then set up the relationship between both these files. See how quick it is to import the file. We are at 17:26. We started sharp at 17:01. That is in 26 minutes. All of us are kind of pros in the small analytical tool that everyone should be able to use it. Here is the relationship part. So just need to set up the relationship between two of the files. I don't know how this third file appeared. Okay, so we just wanted to show you 3 relationships. So third file is also imported, and we'll clean it up quickly with the wizard so that 3-way relationships can be shown and how this will operate as fast as. So if you know, in Microsoft Excel 2016, there was something called as Microsoft Power Query, which was introduced in 16, and after that there was something called as Power Pivot, which was introduced to create reports between different related sheets. This is actually been now migrated and polished into Power BI. So Power BI is actually new avatar of Microsoft reporting and query mixed. So when you look at all these 3 files, we can relate these files, the state code to the customer salesperson state code. See how the links happen very fast, very simple, one to many. So in the file number customer salesperson, there are multiple sales ID, and in the state code report only one state is there, so it is saying one to many. Again, one to many relationship with the master data of name and customer name. So the customer name becomes standardized with the name, and we can see the report across states, across customers, across geographies, across zones, etc. See how fast this wizard can link data into different modes. So it is here saying salesperson name is appearing in both files multiple times, so it is saying multiple to multiple. So many to many and one to one, these are the relationships that are set up between these files. Now we go to the report and quickly generate few reports for you as a sample. Again, please don't conceive this data. This is just a dummy data. Again, very important. This is just used for the educational purpose, created out of course, the real data set, but kind of removed all the names, etc., and all the numbers are just for the sake of education. So see how fast we are able to generate the report, wherein we are saying year-wise sales, and we are able to make the report a bit bigger with the help of formatting part that is on the right side. Visualization tab, there are a lot of formatting options available. So just create the format and clean the report up and see how the report looks. Now you can bring in a lot of graphs and bars and charts as you want here in the report, and you can see the report in a beautiful way. This is just a matrix which we have drawn between 18 and 19. Mehul can click on plus and he can see within 18 quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, within 19 quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and within quarters, months, within months, days, within days, even the bills. So it can be drilled down till the last level. Okay, so yeah, so that is the beauty. Of course, this happens in your pivot as well. Let's look at a report which is showing the what you call the bar comparison between 2 years. We can just click on this arrow and it will automatically shorten the report, or you can increase the visualization of this report at different levels. See, these are 2 years, and we are able to see the year-wise sales in INR. We click on quarter-wise, we can see the quarter-wise report. If we click on month-wise, we can see the month-wise report. So we can drill down and drill up as we want. We can also see geography-wise report of this data into this beautiful map. We can even drill down and drill up in the maps, wherein we can go deeper into India, we can go deeper into a particular state to see in India where the sales is increasing. These dots, bigger and smaller, show the quantum of sales. You can also see when we move our cursor, the mouse is showing exact sales in that particular state or that particular geography. So Power BI can do amazing quality of visualization for companies who are at a particular scale and who like to drive their business with the help of numbers. The Power BI is as instinctive as clicking on a particular geography and filtering the entire data to that particular geography, or to clicking on a particular what you call a bar and going deeper into that bar, kind of a thing. So when we have multiple charts, like Mehul is now putting up a pie chart for along with the bar chart, and creating a beautiful report for the quarter-wise sales, how the quarter-wise sales is divided between the pie. So which seasons are more powerful than the other, and he is generating this different type of pie again. He is trying to put a bar here, and he can also have one bar on one side and one pie on another side. So entire CEO or CFO dashboard can be beautifully created in the click of button and on the fly. Yeah, are you able to see the geography-wise sales in this particular pie? And now Mehul can also say that I want to click on, say, for example, Gujarat, and see the entire report for Gujarat. For example, when he clicks on Gujarat, the entire report filters for the sales for the year in Gujarat, and the parties or customers that were served in Gujarat. And in the parties, the Mehul can also bring in the sales here, the amount, so that people can see what is the top line that is achieved from each of these customers, and Mehul can actually filter by saying A and B, 3P instruments, and entire report shows, the pie shows only for 3P instruments, and the geographical report also shows only for the 3P instruments, right? So that is the kind of filtration is available. So it is very dynamic, and one can see reports at different filtration levels. So yeah, so I think this was a broad idea, just to give you as to how these dashboards look when we populate them for a enterprise level data of a particular client, wherein we can see different dates, we can see different invoice data, we can see the salesperson report, we can see the report product segment wise, we can see the report invoice date wise, we can see the margin wise report in one snapshot, and we can generate such different snapshot for different users in different formats. These are certain examples that we just wanted to show how the reports can be looking at by different sales verticals, different brands, different what you call closed and open POs. We can also generates report like this, wherein we can create different filters on year to date, quarter to date, month to date, brand wise, salesperson wise, vertical wise, client wise, and so on. And we can keep on filtering and seeing different details at different point in time. The fun about the Power BI is you will be worried that how will I import my CSV file again and again and put it in the Power BI and see these reports. But it is as easy as just refreshing replacing your old Excel or CSV files where you have put the data, and just updating those files, and you can see the report for further period or further data automatically. So no need to keep on putting files in this sheet. So see, we have put the files once and for all in this data source, and we are able to replace those files and see the analytics as and when we want to see the analytics from the same files again and again. So a lot of transparency, a lot of ease is created as far as seeing the data in different reporting formats is concerned. I think with this we will kind of conclude the talk or discussion or webinar for the time being. I will just check if there are any queries, or if people want to know more about Power BI in different ways. I'll just check quickly the queries. What queries
being untouched?
Yeah, nobody's. Some people drink.
Please keep it on mute. We will look at the box and we will answer. Otherwise, it will create a lot of chaos. Okay. So I think first is, can we connect to QuickBooks? Yes, the answer is yes. We can connect these to QuickBooks and see. You can see the data source, get data. Just see how many sources are available. Even QuickBooks is one of the sources that is available for you ready-made. Tally, yes, the answer is no. As of now, direct connector to Tally is not available. Tally works on flat file system server based, so it is not having the data into SQL. But what we have been doing in past is to actually bring the data into Tally through ODBC server and then do the analytics on that data as and when we want through the ODBC server. Sorry? From Tally it can come in Excel, and from Excel it can come in. Obviously, means Tally to ODBC Excel and Excel to Power BI. That is the route as of now available. See, the QuickBooks Online Beta and QuickBase both are available. So you can link directly to QuickBase and you can link to QuickBooks Online Beta. Okay, but it is on. I will tell you that connecting to different databases needs a bit of more research and R&D by the professional, because there are a lot of other issues that needs to be taken care of. Also, can this refresh database automatically? Obviously, it can refresh the database automatically. That is what we discussed while we were discussing. See, there is a refresh button given here. Which can be clicked, and just we can refresh the entire database once the database is clear. See, all these files are getting automatically refreshed with the database. Okay, I think are there any other queries which you want to ask or you want to know more about. If I bring tally data via ODBC, obviously, if you bring Yash, I think I want to answer your query. If you bring the data to ODBC, then Power BI can definitely do real-time refresh. Your ODBC should be continuously connected. So if you need to keep your tally database open, your ODBC open, and then the refresh automatically happens. Otherwise, the refresh doesn't happen in Excel, then it will not happen in tally. Does Power BI support user access controls? Yes, but it is paid version. In free version, you cannot do any user access controls. Once you click on publish, it will allow you to create users, and you can then give rights to the users. Here is the publish button. We are not going into it. It is a big subject in itself. So access rights and user is entirely an infra-based discussion that can be done. But in basic version, which is free, there is no user control. As of now, there is no what you call confidentiality. If you want to share these reports, you cannot even share these reports otherwise than screenshots. But if you want to publish the data, you need to go for paid option. Okay, I think more or less, does Power BI support user access control? We have already replied. Any other questions? Hello?
Flat file, can it come directly via a notepad or something?
Yes, it can be coming through the text file. That option is there. PDF also they have given the option, but it is not working properly as of now. It is still in the test mode, but they want to gradually move to a full-fledged kind of a solution. Okay, guys, I think it was amazing to have you all on this webinar. I am sure it was very useful to you, and I'll be very, very happy if you start using it from now onwards for all your MIS and analytics requirements. I'm sure it will solve a lot of issues for the different levels. And we will be very, very happy to have your questions, issues, queries with regards to this. My email ID is mitesh@apmh.in, and I am putting it on the chat box as well, so that then you can note it down. Sorry, there is a mistake in typing mitesh@apmh.in, and my WhatsApp number is 9833 777 Please feel free to reach out for any queries in this regard, and we'll be happy to kind of help you in whatever form possible. Thank you very much.